Ruben Amorim is in the dugout for Manchester United for the first time. It feels different. But why does it feel different, Kweku?
The Sky Dweller on his wrist, the Moncler jacket, the Valentino jumper, aura. And I'm too old to use that word. I am too old to use that word. But it just feels different. And sometimes, I've said it so many times, it's cliche, football's not about the analytics, it's about the manalytics. And the man in the dugout has so much more responsibility than the X's and O's. It's about being a leader of men. And I think maybe I'm biased because the most successful Chelsea managers that I've seen, it's been about leading the dressing room. You think about Jose Mourinho, you think about Antonio Conte, you think about Thomas Tuchel, you think about Ancelotti as well. They were leaders. It wasn't about pretty play. It wasn't about the interconnectivity of the team. It's about winning games and winning titles and bringing the whole team along with you. And that's why I think it's different with Amorim. He's a great communicator. And I think in the Premier League, it's been highlighted this season about communication. We saw it on one end of the scale with Ten Hag, terrible communicator. And Arne Slot, his compatriot in his very first season, incredible communicator. And we've seen the difference in results. I think with Liverpool, we can use them as an example. There's been tactical tweaks, but it's about how Slot has conveyed that message to his team. It's about how he's conveyed his message to the media. It's about how he's quietened down the noise. And I think Ruben Amorim, in his initial interviews, he seems like he gets it. He understands what it is to be a manager in this country because we know what the media is like. We're part of the media. If you say the wrong thing, you get torn down. And he's kind of subdued all of that. He said the right things. And it's ultimately, it'll be about the results on the pitch. But for me, why it feels different is because he feels different. It's different to a Van Gaal. It's different to an Ollie. It's different to a Ten Hag. Mourinho's maybe the only comparison, but that was Mourinho that was kind of done by that point. I think that they found the right man, whether the establishment around him can support him in terms of trying to win the major honours.
We've been here before. We've been here before. We were here with Mourinho. United fans said, right, this is it. Now we're going to win trophies. Didn't win very much. Of course, they got the Europa League and stuff, but weren't the Manchester United that they wanted to be. Under Ten Hag, all eras come to an end. Well, his came to an end pretty quickly and very unsuccessfully. So we've been here before. I agree a little bit. I do agree a little bit. Like, you're watching the interviews, you're seeing him walking around Manchester with his boys, and like, you think like, okay, like, there looks like something, you know, there's something there, isn't there? There is something there, but like, the problems at Manchester United run really deep. Let's not pretend that just one manager who's well-dressed and can speak well is going to solve all of those problems. I don't think the players are good enough. That's what we said a month ago before Ten Hag got sacked. I don't think the players are good enough at all. I think he's going to need at least one or two transfer windows to get the players that he wants in. I don't think a lot of the players actually who are good enough have the right mentality. I think a lot of what you see from the young Manchester United players is not what you want to be seeing from a team who are 13th in the league title. I don't like seeing City players when it's City players going on holiday if you're not on international duty. You should be at home. You should be working hard. So I think there are core problems at Manchester United, both psychologically and both on the pitch with the quality of players they have. And will Amorim get backed? How long does he have to show success? Because it will take a while. It's not going to be like Arne Slot. Arne Slot's been a breath of fresh air, but he walked into a winning machine. Fair enough, they might not have won as much as you think that they should have won, but that Liverpool team were adept at winning. They won the Champions League and they won the Premier League. This Manchester United team is a completely different team.
Do you think, though, what you just described there is effectively, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're saying the other managers didn't succeed because they didn't win trophies? I think a combination of why it feels different is because I am concerned about what he wears, but also because Manchester United are not in a stage where people are going, they have to win titles now. So I think success now looks completely different. Of course, it's Manchester United and it's the big machine and they have to win trophies. But I think if Amorim achieves fourth this season, that feels like success. So I think because the table's tilted in his favour now, where like with Ten Hag, the failure was so deep that now anything can feel like success. He can now just tip it slowly rather than like desperately. And that might give him time to bring in players that he wants, to chase the title eventually. But that combined with how he manages people, how he manages us. You've got 2/3 of the table here that want to talk about his outfits. Genuinely, I would do a whole video on his outfits, I'll be honest. And you're sort of coming on this side as well. That makes a difference in the Premier League.
It does. And there's two situations I compare it to. When Mikel Arteta came in at Arsenal, people would have said the same things. The problems run deep at Arsenal. The ownership group was a mess. Is it Usmanov? Is it Kroenke? And I do think a good manager placates all of that. I think a good manager quietens down the noise. The most important person at a football club is the manager. And within a few years, Arteta got it together, maybe not as quick as some Arsenal fans would have liked, and they haven't won anything yet. But Arsenal are one of the best sides, not just in the country, but in Europe, as a result of giving the manager time and backing him. And all of a sudden, we don't hear about Kroenke out. We don't hear about that noise anymore. Similar to Liverpool. When Jurgen Klopp came in, fair enough, Brendan Rodgers finished second in the 13-14 season, but this was a side that consistently finishing outside the top four. Weren't competing for major trophies, weren't Liverpool that we knew of yesteryear, the Liverpool side that was successful in the 70s and the 80s. It's a very different Liverpool team. Jurgen Klopp comes in, again, similar time of year to the time that Arteta and Amorim have come in, and the first season was almost kind of written off. Got to the final of the Europa League, got to the final of the Carabao Cup, and then they went again. And he changed the whole culture of that club, and all of a sudden we don't hear about FSG out. People would say the problems run deep at Liverpool. I think a manager can change that. And I think at Manchester United, what we've seen is that the people that had jobs for no reason have left that club now. You've now got Omar Barada, you've got Dan Ashworth, you've got Jason Wilcox, you've got people who are actual footballing people behind a manager that is a footballing manager. And so there is no reason why this should not work now. It will take time. They won't be competing for titles this year. They might not be competing for titles next year. But this will be a Manchester United team that we will see eventually are going in the right direction. And it's about giving him time. There's going to be some teething issues. And we talked in the previous video about how there's a lot of noise around Arsenal. There's always going to be noise about around Manchester United. If they lose on the weekend against Ipswich, there will be noise. But give this manager time because he is the truth. And I believe that he will eventually bring Manchester United back to glory.